Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Welcome if you're new here. My name's Sarah. I make videos every single week here on YouTube talking about my acne journey and how I managed to get my skin from this to this. So if you haven't subscribed, please do, because I'd love to see you here each week. Okay, so I'm quite excited to film today's video because I'm going to be talking about all of the crazy things that I've done for my skin. So yeah, I've got a little list of them here and I'm going to run you through them all and just talk a bit about whether they worked or not. So let's get into it. Okay, so number one on the list is coconut oil. I used to, for about 3 months, insist on taking my makeup off with coconut oil. I would then cleanse my face with coconut oil and then I would use coconut oil to moisturize my skin. Now at this point, my skin was getting progressively worse each week, to the point where I was actually so pimply across my forehead, all these little bumps were appearing, and I just assumed that this was my skin purging. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about skin purging and whether this is actually meant to happen or not. So from my understanding, from my research, the only time your skin is supposed to purge is when it's really coming from the inside out, or it's getting to the real deep layers like the epidermis or the dermis. So things like Roaccutane, things like tretinoin, so you know, vitamin A, when that's actually bringing things to the surface, it's because it's turning your skin over at a very fast rate. Things like coconut oil are not meant to do this. So in fact, coconut oil is just going to sit on the surface of your face and it's not going to really penetrate your skin too deeply, so you're not actually going to have a purging phase with it. It's just going to be clogging your pores. So yeah, coconut oil was a really bad mistake for my skin. It's not something that I would try ever again, and quite honestly, most oils I feel the same about them. So I know that there's things like the oil cleansing method and things like that that I haven't tried that I know probably could benefit my skin, but yeah, after the coconut oil experience, that is just like a no-no for me. I think if I'm going to be using any oils on my face, it's definitely going to be layered with other skincare products that are actually going to help the oil do what it's meant to and actually nourish and moisturize your skin. So this one's probably the craziest thing I did for my skin, but it's actually something that worked. So when my acne has subsided, when I've gone back onto the pill to kind of clear up my acne in terms of it being really cystic and painful and pretty severe, I was left with obviously quite a lot of scarring and hyperpigmentation. And I thought the best thing for me to do, the next process for me to do, was actually to fix the red marks on my face before I concentrated on like the indentations and the textural issues. So I did a course of VBeam Laser. And this was probably the craziest thing I did for my skin, because I went all the way up to Manchester on my own over the course of about 6 months. I think I did this every other month. Yes, every other month. And I would basically get zapped to my face and create little bruises on my cheeks and everywhere that had acne scars so that I could get rid of my hyperpigmentation. And it meant that I had to sit at home for a whole week on my own each time I got this done, because honestly, I'll show you a photo now, it's not something you really want to go out in public looking like. Utmost respect for anybody that does want to go out looking like that, but for me, it just looked like I had chickenpox on my face. I just thought everyone would think I was contagious and I just couldn't really be dealing with explaining myself. So yeah, I've made a whole separate video about my VBeam Laser experience, so I'll leave that in the description box, but honestly, by far, craziest thing I did for my skin, driving from London to Manchester to get my face zapped and then driving all the way home on the motorway, stopping at the service stations and people giving me the weirdest looks, really brought it home to me the sort of levels that I would go to for clear skin. So the next crazy thing I did for my skin was a fruit detox. So I actually wrote my best mate into this as well, and both of us had the worst skin after this 2-week period. We decided to only eat fruit, and let me tell you, it was one of the testing times of my life where I genuinely learnt patience, because I was starving. I was so hungry. We literally had huge smoothies for breakfast. We would then have huge bowls of fruit for lunch, and for dinner I was literally doing the same. I think I allowed myself some sort of salad and things, but it was all raw fruit and vegetables for 2 whole weeks, and honestly it was a really terrible idea. I think to some degree this must help some people if your diet is really bad to begin with and you're, you know, living off like chocolate, pizza, ice cream, those sort of things, then I can see why potentially yeah, eating fruit and vegetables would just be a really good idea for you. But 2 weeks of that was terrible on my insulin because I was just eating sugar essentially. Obviously that fruit has got fibre, so it does sort of kind of buffer the effects of, you know, a real kind of spike in your insulin, a spike in your blood sugar, but really you are just eating fructose. And this caused me to break out like crazy. I had recently stopped birth control pills as well, so I know that that was definitely a huge contributing factor, but it was 100% made 10 times worse by the fact that I was just eating sugar for 2 weeks straight. It was absolutely crazy, would never recommend it, and I really regret ever sort of starting to look into kind of the high carb, low fat vegan diet, because it completely ruined my skin. I've actually made a whole separate video about it, so I will link it below. So if anybody that I lived with at uni, any of my friends from uni see this video, this one is definitely going to crack them up, because I swear I did this every single night whilst I was at uni, and that was steaming my face. So I used to do this even if I came home from a late night. I would make sure I got this huge bowl of water and I would sit there, steam my face, and then do about a 10-step skincare routine, which was absolutely insane and it was so unnecessary. I didn't really see any benefits of doing this. However, I guess there is some science to support the fact that if you steam your face, you warm your face up, your pores are definitely going to be open, and also the blood is kind of rushing to your skin, so the absorption of things like salicylic acid and the other products that I was using might have been somewhat enhanced, but really it was a complete waste of time and actually really dangerous. I used to carry this boiling water upstairs to the bathroom. Sometimes I'd been out on a night out, and honestly it was a very dangerous thing to be doing. I'm surprised I didn't burn my face off. So talking of burning my face off, that really nicely segues into my next one, which was an at-home chemical peel. So I'm not talking about the products that have, you know, acids in them that gently peel away your skin. I'm talking about a full-on chemical peel from home, and this was when I was about 17. So we are literally talking like 12 years ago. So there was really not the sort of research or skincare products on the market that there are now where you could probably do this somewhat safely at home. This was something I literally found online that I ordered and did from my bedroom, and it was terrible. So I put this on thinking that my skin could probably take anything I put on it at this point, because I'd had acne for a few years, or I'd had really problematic skin for quite a few years, and I'd used lots of topicals on there, so I really didn't think anything was going to phase my skin. How wrong was I? So the whole process was basically putting a very strong amount of glycolic acid on my face daily for about 5 days, and I had read that your skin would start to peel and, you know, you might have some sort of irritated skin. But oh my gosh, I was so red, so peely, I literally couldn't leave the house. I remember I actually had an exam at sixth form that I had to go into, and honestly, my skin was basically just falling off my face. It was terrible. I would never ever recommend anybody to do this from home without doing some real research first. Definitely way better to go and seek professional help. This one I would never ever try. Honestly, probably the biggest mistake I ever did, and if you've done this, I'm sure you can totally relate. But I remember getting this massive spot on my face before I went on holiday one year, and I was desperate to get rid of it. I was so insecure about this one massive spot on my face. Ironically, I've got a massive spot on my face this week, and these don't even nearly bother me anymore, because when you've had a ton of acne on your face, one spot really isn't going to cause you the biggest amount of concern. But yeah, when I was about 18, and this was a big concern for me, I decided to try and get rid of it myself. And the way I did that was by getting a needle and actually trying to physically pop a cyst that was not ready to be popped. And guys, honestly, it was so bad. It was like a full-on scab on my face. It was disgusting. Please guys, if you're at home and you're suffering with acne and you have a big spot on your face that you're desperate to get rid of, don't pick it. Definitely do not take a needle to it and try and get rid of it yourself. You are gonna cause so much more harm than good. I can promise you that. Okay, so the next one was my least favorite, and I'll tell you why, because I love my sleep. I think I've mentioned it on this channel before, but honestly, if I could have it my way, I would be in bed for like 10 hours every single night. Obviously that's kind of impossible, but yeah, sleep is important to me. So this one was really crazy that I decided to try it. So for about a 2-week period, I decided that I was just gonna sleep on my back. I have no idea why I thought this would help my acne, but I think I read it on one of those acne.org forums and decided I would try it for myself, because I predominantly was breaking out on my cheeks at this point, and I thought, you know what, maybe it is my pillowcases. It's definitely not your pillowcases, by the way. I mean, practicing good hygiene is all very well and good, but that is not going to get rid of your acne. So yeah, pretty unpleasant experience. If you're anything like me, I love to sleep on my side. That's how I always fall asleep. So trying to sleep on my back was just torturous. So I managed it for about a week, and quite honestly, it made no improvements in my skin whatsoever. In fact, It probably got worse because I wasn't getting the sort of sleep that I needed, and I was just pretty grumpy and miserable for the whole week. And then finally, my favorite one of all of these. The craziest thing I did for my skin was derma rolling, and this was crazy good because honestly, I remember sitting there on a Sunday afternoon, lots of my friends were out and asking me to come and join them, but I was like, no, I am sitting at home today and I am rolling needles into my face. Yes, that's right, I'm rolling 1.5mm needles into my face in order to get rid of my acne scars. And it's the best thing I did for my skin because honestly, I did this for about 8 months before I went on Accutane, and it helped my scars so much. Honestly guys, I had probably acne scars that are around a 4 or a 5. They were very noticeable, particularly to me. So it was like the first thing I saw when I looked in the mirror. They were kind of shallow pitted rolling scars. But I decided to use a derma roller and a derma pen, like I said, 1.5mm, and I basically just been stabbing needles in my face on a Sunday afternoon whilst everyone else was out in the park, shopping, doing their thing. But no, I decided that this was a very good thing for me to be doing, and I'm so glad I did because it really paid off. I can barely notice my scars anymore. Of course, they're still there to some degree. I mean, I think if you look really hard, you can see them, but for me, I'm the biggest critic of my own skin and they are barely noticeable, and I'm so grateful that this method worked for me. I've also made a video about this, so I'd love you guys to go and check it out. If scarring is something that you're, concerned about or you want to find out more, then I will put the link down below. Okay guys, that is all from me this week. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear what the crazy things you've done for your skin because I know that we collectively as an acne community have basically tried it all. So yeah, leave me a comment down below. Please come and join me over on Instagram as well. My handle is @Sarah_skin_story, and I'm basically tracking my progress with tretinoin and clindamycin, so you can see my results over there. I really hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it, and please hit the subscribe button below so I can see you in my next one.